Money. It affects our everyday life. But how do we make more of it? Manage it. And make sure we make the most of our money. Welcome to Money Mindful, a podcast to teach and support you as you learn to manage your money.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Money Mindful podcast. It's late at night here. The kids are asleep in bed, finally. I've got my dog Dasha curled up in her basket behind me in my office. She's a whippet and they really feel the cold. So we actually have a doona in her basket and she burrows herself inside under the doona. It's really funny because sometimes when I'm on a Zoom call and she's in the background, you'll just see this doona moving up and down. Anyway, let's get into the podcast. It's good to be here with you. Trying to find time to do it when there's not people in the house is just a little bit of an extra challenge during this social distancing time, but hey, we're managing it. So I recently got an email from my podcast service provider that they're changing things up and I no longer fit into their free plan category as I've got too many listeners. So basically, if I want to stay with them as my provider, I have to upgrade my plan and start paying a monthly fee. Now, I gladly took out my credit card and signed up for the upgrade immediately. And here's why. First of all, having too many downloads to stay on the free plan is a good problem to have, right? It means you value the content I put out and lots of people are listening, which is a really amazing and awesome thing. And I'm, so incredibly delighted that there are people who value this content that I make every week. So I'm in a few podcast groups on Facebook and there was a little bit of chatter about some people being disappointed that they now have to pay. Now, for some, I can understand their perspective. Lots of people like myself start a podcast as a passion or a hobby. That's what I did when I first started out. And they want to share a message and get it in your ears every week. And if your podcast isn't monetized, it's pretty amazing to be able to host it on a platform for free. Since my podcast launched in late 2019, I've had it hosted with a particular podcast provider and they've been amazing. And in the beginning, if I needed to get help, which I may have needed to hit up their help desk quite a few times, they got back to me straight away. Their technical support is great. And they have a beautiful player that integrates seamlessly with my website. I can use their player and post episodes to my social media account. I can get analytics of who's listening and where they are. That's how I know that I've got people listening in all over Europe, in France and Germany and the Netherlands and Sweden and many more countries, and in North America and in Asia. Hello, whoever's listening in the Philippines. It's so amazing to see how many people are listening in what countries and how many downloads. And this is so valuable to me. It's such valuable information for me to have. And I got it all for free for a long time. Now, if my podcast provider went out of business, it would affect me and lots of other people. I want to use their service and I value what they offer. When I pay them money, they get to keep their business running. They get to continue to offer their amazing service to many people. They continue to be able to offer schools and hobbyists a free service. That's one of their points that they made when they said that they were going to start charging, and they'd added in this extra plan because they've grown and they've got a lot bigger and they have been offering a lot of free services to schools, and lots more people have been joining because of the COVID-19. And, they want to be able to continue and grow and expand their services. And so they're charging, they're now charging some people that they were offering the service for free. But by doing this, they continue to be able to pay their employees get to feed their families and spend money in other businesses and so on. Paying money matters. You see, sometimes we get confused about what money is or isn't. Money can't hurt you. It isn't evil. It doesn't make your life better. Money is neutral. It's just a tool we get to use to exchange it for value. Right? So in the past, we didn't use money. Money's just a social construct we've made up to make it easier to trade goods and services. That's it. Maybe in the past you needed some potatoes, so you traded your broccoli for your neighbour's potatoes, right? I'm totally just pulling out examples from thin air, I think you can tell. But that is not practical to do now, right? So we use money as a trading tool. I know you understand this intellectually, but for many of us, the idea of money or our thoughts about money can be very charged with emotion. Not having enough, feeling like there's only a certain amount of money to go around. So if one person has more, it means another person has less. We use money as a convenient tool to exchange for goods or services. I pay you this dollar amount and you give me that service or product. Paying someone money means they can pay someone else money and so on. That's how it works, and it's a beautiful thing. When we get paid for our work in money, it means I can pay my lawn mowing man. He can use that money to pay, let's say, the barber. Okay, the barber can use it to pay for his son's piano lessons and so on. Do you see what an amazing tool money is? Imagine having to say to my lawn mowing man, okay, well, I can pay you with a coaching session or, and he'd be like, that's not what I want. I need a haircut, but I don't have that to offer him, right? So annoying. So how much better is it just having money to use to trade? Yeah, so much easier. Now, on to my second point. What if I just expected my lawn mowing guy to do it for free? This might work a couple of times or, like a one-off thing with a friend or something like that. But in the long term, it's not sustainable. How does he pay for his petrol and car and trailer and lawn mowing equipment if I don't pay him? And furthermore, how on earth is he going to get his hair cut, right? So now my lawn mowing guy isn't forcing me to pay money. If I don't want to pay him, I don't have to use his services, right? No one is making you pay. You choose to pay because you want that thing or service. And that's a really important point to just be aware of. So here's another way to look at it. Sometimes we can get caught up thinking about things we spend money on unintentionally. For example, I often hear people speaking I don't often hear people speaking positively about paying their bills or rent or mortgage, right? I want to offer to you that you are choosing to think how you do about paying your bills. And it's possible to think about them differently. Now, let's just think about this for a minute. When it comes to all your day-to-day expenses, what are your thoughts about paying money for them? So such as your gas and electricity bill, your water bill, your phone bill, and your rent or your mortgage. Do you feel negative about it? Are you happy about it? Or maybe you don't feel anything about it. Maybe you're just neutral. Are you annoyed at the amount your electricity bill is? Or are you happy about it? What? What are you talking about, Meaghan? Why on earth would I be happy about my electricity bill? Okay, I can hear you thinking this, right? But here's why. Just imagine for a minute that you didn't have running water. What would your life be like? No shower, no dishwasher, or forget that, not even a sink with running water. Now, imagine yourself going to the tap and getting a drink of water or jumping in the shower after your morning walk. How good does that feel, right? So many of us have negative thoughts about bills, but really think about it for a minute. Why? Have you ever taken the time to explore this? Like, have you ever examined your thoughts, or have you questioned whether they're true or not? I know this is probably going to sound funny to some of you, but I actually love paying my bills. And you know why? Because I love water. I love air conditioning. I love having a gas stove, although unfortunately we don't have one in this rental. But I love being able to just cook at home in the kitchen, like on demand, because we've got electricity in the house. I love being able to just switch on my computer at the flick of a switch and the ability to connect to the internet. I love having a house to live in. I love paying my rent because I value having a home so much, right? This is very high on my list of things I want to spend money on. I definitely want to have somewhere to live, somewhere where I can have a bed and my clothes and a room for my children. This is very, very high on my list of important things. And to get that costs money. So I gladly spend that money because I want that value in my life. So you can feel however you want about your expenses. Okay, I'm not telling you have to feel a certain way, but I want to offer to you that if you are thinking negatively about paying your bills, or I wish it was free, or my electricity bill is so expensive, question yourself. How do you feel when you think those thoughts? And are those thoughts serving you? Like, do you even realize you have choice about how you want to think about them? Yeah? I want to pay my bills. I feel good about paying my bills because I want those things in my life. I want to switch on a light at nighttime. I want to cook on demand in my kitchen, right? Like, I'm really curious, have you ever thought about it that way? And if you haven't, try it. Because when you think about wanting to pay for something because of the value that it gives you, it has a whole different energy about it, just in the way that you feel about it. You know, I don't feel resentful for paying for my bills, or I don't feel annoyed if they're large, because it's like, well, obviously I've been using a lot of power, but I really want those things. So I do want to spend that money. And it's a different way to look at it. And I know it's not a common way to look at it, but it gives me a lot of freedom and makes me feel very much in control when I think that way. The final point I want to cover about paying money is this. People in general don't value free or cheap. But when you invest a significant amount of money into something, you take it seriously. Now, let me give you a couple of examples. So, I love shoes. I've had plenty of pairs I've churned through, but one particular pair of boots I bought in Denmark that cost me hundreds of dollars. guess what? Like 10 years later, I still have those beautiful boots and they are still in amazing condition, because you can be sure when you spend a lot of money on something, you're way more invested in either taking care of it, if it's a physical thing like my shoes, or if it's a purchase you've made like a service, you make sure you use it. So you've only got to walk up a suburban street to see this in action. It's easy to spot a homeowner's home among rentals. Yeah, they're usually so much better taken care of, right? Likewise, this year I invested in life coach certification training. It's with a world-renowned, highly reputable coaching school, and it's costing me a lot of money. Okay, so think paying up front for a master's degree. There's no HECS or deferred payments. So every money, when I hand over that big wad of cash, you better believe I show up to the classes and I study my ass off. I'm 200% invested because I've invested so much to do it. I've done other training that has been good, but only cost me a couple of $100 or, and I can tell you now, I was nowhere near as committed or invested as I am in this training. Yeah, do I get the money's worth of value every month? Absolutely, that and more. And it's not just from what they offer, but it's also about how much I put back into it because of how seriously I take it. When you pay a lot of money for something, you take it seriously. And this is really great to be aware of. One, when you're offering a service, just when you're thinking about what you're going to charge. And two, when you're paying for one. And also being a person who will spend that kind of money on themselves has a huge impact on your money mindset. So often what stops people spending a lot of money is they think they can't afford it, or they won't get the return on the money that they pay because they don't believe in themselves. There's so much more to this, but I think this is a topic for another episode that we can explore, but really good stuff to start to ponder and be aware of. Paying matters. So next time you go to pay a bill or pay for a service, notice your thinking. Yeah, get really curious. This is my assignment for you. Really pay attention to your thoughts, because it's going to reveal a lot about your money mindset. Do you feel negatively about spending money? And what's the result in your life? What result do you create for yourself by thinking that way? Maybe you feel positive about it. Maybe you feel neutral. But get curious. Next time you go to pay for something, just notice, what are you thinking? All right, if you want to take this work deeper, email me at moneymindful to book a free consultation. As always, have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For more info, visit moneymindful.com.au. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. And remember, the information in this podcast is of a general nature only and does not take into account your personal circumstances or goals. Please seek professional advice for your own financial needs. Remember to have fun along the way.